Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Coffee with Katie. Got my summer bookish mug and my Loki t-shirt on. It says burdened with glorious purpose. I just love this shirt. So today's video is going to be a book review on The Outlaw Mage by K.S. Veloso. This was an ARC that I received. I've mentioned this before on my channel, but the author's team reached out to me and asked me if I would like a copy of the ARC to read and review, and I said absolutely, because I've heard really good things about this author with her Wolf Queen series, and was very anxious to give this a shot. And I just finished it today because I was a little bit behind. I wanted to get it up for the release date of August 1st, so I'm a little bit late, but this is out now, and so hopefully you can go grab a copy, pick it up wherever books are sold, you know, to support this author. But let me get into my thoughts and the story and kind of what you're getting yourself into. First off, she included this letter to me, but I'm sure she included it to everyone, but it is really touching, and if it's in the beginning of any of the books, like Dear Reader, whatever, I would highly recommend reading it because it is really sweet. If not, I would be happy to you know, put a picture of the page up here for you guys at some point to read. But this, like I said, this came out August 1st and is following Rasha. I'm probably butchering her name. I'm not sure if it's Rosha or Rasha, but that's kind of like her nickname. Her name is longer. And in this world, there are mages, and it's basically people that can tap into the Agan, which is the magic in this world. You can, like, if you have access to the Agan, you can tap into it. You can see it even. It's like a little bit of a glow around somebody, or light, or these like blue tendrils, so you can see it and tap into it. And when you can tap into it and you're really good at it, you can go to this school, Ihildeth, I think it's pronounced that way. You can go to this school, and it's kind of a prestigious school, and you can become a mage. If you have the ability to tap into the Agan, but you're not a mage, you're not really supposed to use the magic in this empire specifically. In the other places of the world, you can use it because they don't really care. It's just this empire, if you're going to use it, you have to basically be registered to use it, kind of. So yeah, so that's kind of the premise. And then you're following this character, Rasha, who is enrolled in this school, but you're picking up where she's basically walking out on her final exams and failing. It's because she failed and she's walking out on this education. She hasn't finished her mage training. She is now considered an outlaw because she didn't finish her training. She's not under their thumb, and therefore is like a wild card with magic. So this book was really good. I loved the magic system, and it was really interesting following a character who was very apathetic and somewhat self-destructive. Like, she messes up in her exams a little bit and then just walks out, quits the whole thing, throws her entire education away, basically, because she just had to get through that week and get through like 1 or 2 more trials of these final exams. She would have been like good to go, get a good job, etc. And she like was like, no, I've had it, and like walks out. So it's really interesting following a character like that. She's not what you would call like a good person, but she does begrudgingly help people. So she's not like necessarily heartless, but she kind of comes off as very apathetic, very heartless, very just trying to survive and having her own self-interests at heart and mind rather than others. And it's kind of shown to you why she's like that, because her life wasn't very easy, even though she was in this prestigious school, which we'll get into. Because this book also delves into colonization and the effects that has, as well as race. I liked that it dealt with those topics while also bringing you into this world and building this world and this magic and this danger. It just brings you into the world of like magic, danger, corruption, and politics, of course. And the empire is corrupt, but there's a lot of mystery as to why and what's going on and who's behind it. And basically, her people, the Gorantine, I think is called, Gorantin, are the ones that were colonized. So this Dagian empire came in, colonized this place, and they call it Dagus, and they like pushed people out of the places they wanted. So there was a lot of magic, and so they wanted to kind of harness this for themselves and push those people out and make them less than human, make them slaves, make them the bottom of society. Really sad, but that is like a lot of times what happened with colonization. And so she's kind of coming from that, where because of her race and because they colonized this place, she's looked down upon. So she's constantly like, people are suspicious of her. People think that because she has, and her people also don't have a lot of magic, just because of how the society is set up, right? So they're suspicious of her. They don't believe in her. They want her to fail, kind of, but they're also like just waiting for her to fail and waiting for her to mess up because she's Gorenton, so of course she will, you know? So she's got a lot of pressure in school and just everything going on. She's had to deal with that her whole life, and she's sick of it and she's tired of it. She doesn't want to deal with that anymore, which is understandable, but her dad and like parents around her, her dad's kind of a jerk, like walked out on them, kind of a jerk, realized he had a daughter and was kind of like, I guess you can come here and I'll help you out with a life. He's like, people are going to wait for you to fail. You have to like play the game. You have to smooth people. You have to make them like you, or else you're not going to do well because they hate us. They're going to look for reasons to like take you down. And she's like, I don't want to have to play this game. This is stupid. So you feel for her, but you also like kind of understand what she's up against. And then she kind of sabotages herself. And you're just like, well, what's going to happen, right? There's so much going on in this story as we follow Rasha. Even the plot, like the way, I guess maybe the pacing, the way that the story is set up and what pushes the plot forward. And there's kind of like a whiplash feeling with going one way in the story and then bam, something happens to thicken the plot and like push it along. So that can feel a little bit like, whoa, what just happened? Whoa, what just happened? But it's not in a bad way. I feel like the way I'm describing that may come up as negative. And if that's not your vibe, maybe it is. But I'm saying it in a way that it's not bad. Like it was interesting. Like you're following her on this trip and then you're just like, whoa, something crazy happened. What does that mean? What does that mean? Like, how is this happening right now? What happened? So it seemed that it was, you know, building the story, building the world, but also giving more questions than answers a lot of the time. And again, not in a bad way. It's more of just like building this mystery element and being like, whoa, I didn't know this could happen with this magic system. And what the heck is that? And there's a creature now and whoa. And it's just like a lot of things that are building, right? There's dragons mentioned in this. You never see them in the book, but they're mentioned, and people like tried to harness them for their magic and it never ended well. And you're just like, what is happening? I'd say that with this book, it can feel a little bit like jerky in this sense where the plot is just continually being pushed forward by these events that are happening. And you're just like, whoa. And now this person's involved. Whoa. And now this is happening. Oh my gosh. But you don't know what any of it means. So you're just like, what? No, I liked it, you know? There was times where I was like, okay, I'm a little tired of this, but right before I would like get to that point is when one of those events would happen to like push the story along or throw you off and you're just like, whoa, like where is this coming from? So I kind of liked how she did that, but also keep in mind that all of my thoughts are from the ARC and the finished copy will be a little bit different. For instance, I'm assuming there will be a map in here, which will be cool, but I do not have a map, right? There might not be. I don't really know. It was also interesting how she continued to use the characters in this book and the relationships between those characters. So she would use like the relationships between characters that did not or do not get along and then had them kind of dealing with it. For instance, obviously she doesn't have a great relationship with her dad because he was kind of a jerk, but they continue to kind of use that. The whole point of this story is that she failed her exam, she ran away, she was living a life on her own somewhere else. And people come to her and they're like, your father is missing because of his dangerous dealings and we need your help finding him. And she comes to help find him. So it's like, she could have just been like, screw him, you know, but they continually like use these relationships that aren't good or even healthy, or they don't even like each other, or maybe they even hate each other, but they're continually like having to face that with each other. Like she has to face her dad. He has to face her. He has to face this enemy of hers. She has to face like kind of like a scorned lover, not really, just a guy that she was like, I don't really want to be with you anymore. And he's like, but I love you. There's like a lot of things going on. And even like her family, like she doesn't get along with her mother and she has to deal with her mom. Like it's interesting because it's not, I guess it could be toxic. I guess it is toxic, but like all of the relationships in here are not great. They're not even good. Like maybe one of them is good. And they have to navigate that. They have to navigate that these relationships are very complicated and difficult. And how do you do that? While also being apathetic, and she was totally fine living her life away from all of them. I really liked how those relationships were kind of pulled in because you kind of feel for everyone, but you also feel that distance that she's putting between people. It's really interesting. And she brought characters into play that are like mentioned in the story, mentioned in the book, right? She brought characters into play that I really didn't expect. It felt just really fresh. It felt like, wow, I don't know if I've seen this done before, or this was interesting, or I didn't really expect this. Maybe somebody else expected it, but like the way that she wrote it out, I was like, I never expected to see this character. I never expected this to become a thing. Like, it was just really interesting. I'm gonna say interesting like 6 times probably, sorry, or more. And obviously because she is an outlaw, she's hiding from the Empire and the law, and she has to come back to find her dad, so she's gonna be navigating that very gingerly, but also probably getting into some trouble. And it was really interesting how all of that plays out, how it comes to be. This is book 1 in the series. I am not sure how many books are gonna be in this series. Yeah, like on Goodreads it doesn't say like untitled whatever, so I don't know how many books are gonna be in this series, but it is really interesting. One of my only critiques of this book is it seems that the final touches weren't in this yet, which makes absolute sense because it's an arc. That's how it's supposed to be, right? Totally expected and understandable. So I think with that being my critique, I think the final version will be a lot more polished and is a great story nonetheless, but I think the final version that you can get in stores right now is going to be more polished, it's going to flow better, and I think this is a fantastic story. I think I ended up giving it 4 stars because it's not the best book I've ever read, but that's my only critique of it really. Like, it was very interesting. I'm very invested to find out what happens, but it's kind of like, it's really interesting to follow Rasha because it's like, I don't really like her. Like, she's unlikable, but I've never followed a character that is so apathetic and self-serving and just like has so much self-preservation, I guess, that she will throw people under the bus, kind of. She also helps people. And like, wanted to read more. I think that's kind of the tension I'm feeling, and it was really good. So The Outlaw Mage by K.S. Veloso was very good. The magic is great. I can't wait for the world to be expanded upon and for all of these, like, the corruption to be exposed, potentially. Who knows? Maybe it won't be. And she's kind of being like a puppet. That's kind of what this thing, there's like a puppet thing involved with the puppet master of the Dagon Empire. I can't wait for the involvement that she is going to be having in the next books to come out. I'm very excited to follow her story and how it unfolds. There's a character in here that I really like that I never thought I would like. Yeah, I'm just very curious to see where she's going to take this story. And because this is the first thing I've ever read from this author, I am very excited that I've heard such good things about the Wolf Queen series, because I do have that first book and I would love to read that. So I recommend that you pick this up if you like magic, if you like kind of unlikable characters, complicated relationships, a corrupt empire, political scheming, colonization, and racial issues. Like, if you like delving into those kind of difficult topics or seeing the results of them, kind of being like, why did you do that? Or this is so unfair, like just feeling that with the characters. I think you would really like this book. I would recommend you pick it up. It's a pretty quick read. It took me a little while because I've been really struggling with reading physically, but the arc is only 350 pages and like 357 pages, so it's not that long. And I believe the finished copy is that many pages, but I don't know. So absolutely check this out if it intrigues you at all. I think it's a great story, and thank you so much, K.S. Veloso, for sending me this, because it was a fun time and a good time, and I can't wait to continue on Rasha's journey. Well, that is my book review for The Outlaw Mage. Thank you so much for watching, but that is it for today's video. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and caffeinated. Bye!